All right, so delves are going to be important. We know that. They're going to be filling up your vault. You're going to be getting heroic level raid gear from bountiful delves with your coffer keys if you rank them up to level 8. So delves are a big part of this season for the first time ever. We never had delves as a part of a season before. We never had delves in general before. So I think it's time for us to refresh our minds a little bit on delves and understand them fully, because it's going to be an important part of gearing, especially this first week. So here it is, the complete guide to gearing through delves, Season 1 of The War Within with Mr. GM. Let's check this out.
Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about delves, and more specifically we're going to go through a complete guide on how to gear through delves in Season 1 of The War Within. Of course, in Season 1 of The War Within, delves will be expanding up to Tier 11, and in this video we're going to break down all of the item levels, everything you need to know to get the highest item level you possibly can through delves in Season 1.
Also, side note, before he says anything, don't forget, you guys may be able to convert to tier gear. That whole, the freaking, whatever the thing it's called, you'll still be able to convert shit to tier gear. So even though you can't get tier gear from a delve, you're going to be able to convert shit to tier gear. So it's going to be important to just get highest item level wherever you can, and that might be delves sometimes.
But before we jump into that,
catalyst,
guys, I do want to shout out my Twitch, twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft or Within, all that good stuff, I'm over on twitch.tv/MrGM every single day. Right, so yes, Season 1 of The War Within begins extremely soon on September 10th or 11th, depending on your region. And with this new season, obviously comes Mythic Plus and raids, and now it brings new difficulties to delves. But let's start off with a little rundown on what a delve is. So if you haven't been diving into delves already, they are currently available in Tier 1 to 3 on the pre-season patch. Now, delves are designed to be a new pillar of World of Warcraft gameplay. They have no timers, no restrictions. You can do them alone or up to 5 players.
It's the best thing about delves. It's the best thing about delves. Thank you, Sixblade. I appreciate that. Delves in general are going to fill that little 15-minute gap in your day. You know, what did you do today? Oh, you had 50. You just took a shit. You got 15 minutes before you got to get in your car and go somewhere. Run a delve. You just argued with your wife, and now you've been banned away to the basement. You know, you got to go back up there and apologize at 15 minutes. Run a delve. Like, that has not existed in the game yet. That 15 minutes of content, because I've had, my days with, I have kids, I have a wife, I have all this stuff going on in my life. Sometimes I don't have time for a Mythic Plus, but sometimes I do have 10 to 15 minutes to log on and just be, pretend like I'm a degenerate for 10 to 15 minutes. Perfect. I can run a delve. This is that content that I've been looking for sometimes, where I'm like, man, I wish we had that little tidbit of something to be able to do in the day that's very short, and that's what this is going to fill. That's why I was excited for delves.
An NPC companion. These are inspired by things like islands and Torghast and scenarios, and it basically feels like a solo dungeon at times if you are going in by yourself. There's various respawn points throughout the delves and powers and different fun little things that you can do to make them feel a little bit different from a dungeon. And as mentioned, there are different tiers of difficulties. These do go up to 11, and as you probably know, tier 1 to 3 is now available with early access.
Up to 11, but tier 8 is what's going to give you the highest level gear. After that, it's like going beyond plus 10 in Mythic Plus. The gear upgrade doesn't happen. It's just like you get achievements and stuff, and I believe at tier 11 you can fight that final boss and get that void-looking dirigible mount, so there's that too. But yeah, tier 8 is where you're going to really want to push to for gear.
Launch, and then with the start of this season, tier 4 to 11 will be available. To unlock the next tier of delves, you will need to complete the previous one with revives remaining. Yes, you do get revives similar to Torghast, but it's not as punishing. Revives do start at tier 4, and you'll have 5 in total. Losing all your revives in a run doesn't end your run, but it does affect the rewards at the end. Right. And all of these unlocks are across all 12 delves. So if you unlock tier 5 on one delve, that'll unlock it across all of the delves. So yeah, just a little rundown on what delves are and the difficulties. When I start using different words and things, maybe it'll make a bit more sense, but I'll try and explain it the best I can. So
yeah, at Buzzbarn, yeah, he said it's going to be a struggle beyond tier 3. I mean, Blizzard did compare like the highest levels to Mage Tower. And obviously, we're very under-geared right now. Like, everyone's going to have tier sets soon, tier set bonuses. We're going to get geared pretty quickly early on in the season, so this is the weakest you're ever going to be. You're a complete little bitch right now. So it's going to be a little bit harder to do these things, but obviously gearing out, you're going to eventually just out-gear these early tier delves for sure.
Let's talk about gearing. So
Just
there
like
are two
Mage
different
Tower.
types of delves that you'll see on the map. You have your regular delve, which will just be the normal entrance on the map, and then there'll be ones that are bountiful.
Yes,
Now, I'll go a
delves.
little bit more into detail with bountiful delves later on in the video, but you do get 4 of these per
He's got
day.
11 coffer keys. I mean, you should be saving them, by the way. Save them and only use them on a tier 8 if you can. If you can't do a tier 8 for a while and you think, you know what, you just use it. But tier 8 is where you're going to get that heroic level raid gear with a restored coffer key.
One for each zone. But yeah, again, we'll talk about that in a bit. Let's talk about regular delves. These are going to be the ones that are going to be available all of the time that you can just run endlessly if you
don't
really
outgear
want to.
Mage Tower. I can go do Mage Tower right now with my left nut tied to my leg. What are you talking about? You can outgear Mage Tower. I outgeared Mage Tower. I went back on my what's it called? My Death Knight at the end of the expansion because I just made him early on in Legion, and I went back and did it no problem. It was very easy. You can. You totally can. You can outgear Mage Tower. It was very hard early on. That's why the first couple people who did it, it was like a big deal. But yes, you could. They update. Don't forget Monarch. They updated Mage Tower. I'm talking about when we were in Legion. You guys are talking about post-update. You got to remember, they changed Mage Tower after Legion. But I'm saying when Mage Tower came out early in the expansion, it was way harder than if you did it at the end of the expansion. That's it. It required less skill if you waited till the end. Okay? We're talking about current... Well, I'm not talking about current times, okay? I'm talking about when it was live, when the first time, just like these delves are going to be.
The delves do drop Valor Stones and Crest.
Thanks for your back
now,
in
the
the day
specific
story,
crest type does depend on the tier. So tier 1 to 5 will be dropping Weathered Harbinger Crests. Tier 6 to 7 will be dropping Carved Harbinger Crests. And tier 8 to 11 will drop Runed Harbinger Crests, which is the highest crest that you can obtain through delves. All tiers will also drop Valor Stones, and the amount of Valor Stones will vary on the difficulty of the delve, capping out at tier 8, of course. Now, if you're a bit confused by crests and Valor Stones, they're essentially items to upgrade your gear. This is a system that came in Dragonflight. It's a little confusing, but once you kind of get your hands on it, it does make a lot more sense. Now, these regular delves are repeatable, and you can keep doing them as much as you like, and they do have gear drops. However, the gear does cap out at item level 554 at tier 3. So any other delve you do, even at like a tier 11, will...
Another Death Knight.
Sam, a fellow Sam, thank you for the Prime sub 2 months in a row. Death Knight of our Scourge champion. Thank you. Yeah, so by the way, like just running delves constantly probably isn't the best way to gear out, even though you can continually do it. He's talking about why here in a second. But you're going to want to do at least maybe 8. 8 will fill out your vault at the end of the week. So doing 8 is, you know, it's a good thing to do.
Still drop that item level 554, which honestly is not very good. It's something you can get right now in the game, and it's just not going to be worth your time. So really, the reason you'll do these regular delves is just going to be for Valor Stones, crests, and of course the cosmetics, which do drop. So
I didn't think about that. Might be a good way to farm Valor Stones. I don't know which is the better way, heroic or this. I'd have to probably run both and time them and see which one's more Valor Stones per, I don't know, 15 minutes or whatever. Because this might be the better way to farm Valor Stones, especially early on. Eventually, you just get capped on Valor Stones constantly, but early on, you're just going to need them.
Let's talk about where the real gear comes from, and that is Bountiful Delves. So Bountiful Delves are a type of delve which rotate every single day. These contain an extra chest at the end of them, which requires a restored coffer key to open. Now, restored coffer keys are a new currency which have come in the War Within, and are rewarded from a bunch of things like weekly activities. You can get different shards from world quests. Once you get 100 shards, you get another key. You get them...
The best way to do these, to get these coffer keys, by the way, you got to get the caches from the big events going on around the world, or the big world quests, you know, like the soup kind of event that currently exists now, where it's like there's the stage show, there's the lighting up of the torches in Hallowfall. You got to do those, because the first 4 you do every week will give you coffer keys. The first 2 you do every week will give you adventurer level gear. So you're going to want to do at least 4 of those a week. I got to get in and do 2 of them today before the reset. So those are definitely something you're going to do, and that's the easiest way to get coffer keys, is just to get 4 caches a week.
From Renown. You could even purchase them when you've advanced enough through your Delver's Journey, which is like the season progression for Delves. And you could also get them from the World Soul Memory event, which is kind of a gameplay loop that you'll do, where you get an item from the end of a Bountiful Delve, you use that item to be able to farm shards and Valor Stones, and then obviously you get another key from that, and rinse and repeat. I do have a full video on the World Soul Memory event as a gameplay rotation, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. But yeah, essentially...
Monarch, for the vault, I don't don't know if he's going to talk about it. I believe it's heroic. Based on your tier, I believe you can get heroic level raid gear from him if you do up to tier 8. But I'm not 100% sure, honestly, what the eye level is for the delves from the vault.
Probably got a few of these keys already, and these are used to open chests inside Bountiful Delves. So Bountiful Delves will be marked on the map as a glowing entrance, and when you go to the entrance of the delve, it will also have a golden portal, so you can't miss it when it is bountiful. Now, completing a Bountiful Delve does consume it, so you want to be doing this on the highest tier that you can possibly do for the best rewards, because if you do it on a tier 1, it will consume it, and you won't be able to do it again. Now, as mentioned, these are 4 per day, so you can wipe the map of them per day, and then the next day you come along, there'll be 4 more ready for you to do. So there's going to be a lot of these for you to do, and you're going to need a lot of keys. Once you complete a Bountiful Delve, you'll have 2 different types of chests. You'll have a blue chest, which actually drops the same items from the green chest, so you don't need any keys to open this, and this will obviously drop various crests and values of Valor Stones, and exactly the same as the chest from the regular delve.
Man, I'm thinking these just might be a very good way to get the stones and the crests. Like that, now that I'm just watching him loot this stuff, this might be a good way to just farm the shit out of those.
The other chest, and the more important chest, is the Bountiful chest. Now, this will require a coffer key to open, as mentioned, and this will have different levels of gear depending on the tier you do. So if you do a Bountiful Delve on tier 1, this will drop 561 Explorer gear. Tier 2 is 564 Explorer gear. Tier 3
to this realm.
Mash, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our Scourge.
Is 571 Adventurer gear. Tier 4 is 577 Adventurer gear. Tier 5 is 584 Veteran gear. Tier 6 is 590 Veteran gear. Tier 7 is 597 Champion gear. And then the item level caps out at Tier 8 to 11 at 603 Champion gear. So if you're just running Bountiful Delves and you want the best loot possible, you want to be doing these on a Tier 8. Tier 9, 10, and 11 are simply just like cosmetic and achievement tiers, so I wouldn't bother too much.
Remember, this is Bountiful Delves, right? So this is that extra chest with the coffer key. This is not what's dropping just from the brand up shit at the end. You gotta get in a Bountiful Delve and have the key to get this item level.
That tier 8 is where your gear is going to be capping out at 603 Champion, which is actually pretty high. I believe that's about normal raid. It's worth noting as well, items from tier 5 to 11 can also be catalyzed into tier set. So once the catalyst is active and you have charges, you can change that into the new tier set of Season 1, which is fantastic.
That's what I was saying
and a final thing worth noting on Bountiful Delves is that if you lose all of your revives in the run, you won't have the Bountiful chest at the end. As mentioned, you get 5 revives per run, so make sure you're not dying as much as possible, because you'll lose the loot at the end, unfortunately. Now that's all fine and good. You can get your 603 gear on your own if you really wanted to through Bountiful Delves. Just make sure you got enough keys. But that's not it for gearing through Delves. The final piece of the puzzle here is the Great Vault. This is where your absolute highest item level of gear is going to be coming from if you are exclusively gearing through Delves. So, per week you have 3 chances of gear. There are 3 boxes on the new World row on the Great Vault. To fill these out, you do not need to do Bountiful Delves exclusively. Credit towards this is given from any type of delve that you do.
I think Chad is blocking it right now, but 8 delves is the cap, so that's what you got to do. That's how many you got to do to fill it all the way out.
Which is amazing. And even if you took 4 hours and ran out of revives, as long as you complete the delve, you will get the credit towards your Great Vault. The first one is to complete 2 delves, the second is to complete 4, and then the final one is to complete 8 delves. So what you want to be doing is completing 8 delves per week on the highest difficulty you can do, capping out at tier 8. Don't do tier 9, 10, or 11. Those will just count as a tier 8 on your vault. So the items which are actually rewarded on this row are just the higher item level versions of the items from delves, which are just kind of regular gear, but there is also a chance at tier set, so you can...
Damn, look at that 616 tier set. Holy crap, man, that's really good.
Get some tier set from this row as well, which is fantastic.
Well, that answers your question, Monarch. You know, it's not just scaled up world gear. He's getting tier pieces.
The loot from Bountiful Delves, this can also be catalyzed into the new tier set. So for the Great Vault, if you're completing tier 1s each week, this will give you a 584 veteran piece. If you're completing tier 2s, this will also be a 584 veteran piece. If you're completing tier 3s every week, that will be a 587 veteran.
Delves are going to be extremely valuable early on. That's what I was saying. Like, this week is the delve week. Like, man, getting into delves and doing them, especially early on in first couple weeks of raid, it's going to be very valuable. It's giving you a second shot at tier.
If you're doing tier 4s, this will be 597 champion. If you're completing tier 5s, this will be 603 champion, which is actually the item level that we're capping out in Bountiful Delves.
Yeah.
If you're completing tier 6 every week,
it's enter heroic
your vault
rating.
will have 606 champion gear. If you're completing tier 7, this will give you some 610 hero gear. And if you're completing a bunch of tier 8 delves every week for your Great Vault, this will cap out at 616 hero.
That's freaking heroic level raid gear. Yeah, it's going to be worth it to do it.
Which is about mid-heroic boss, which is incredible for solo gearing.
Really
I think it's the highest you could ever get through solo gearing. So really, if you're not confident doing a tier 8, tier 7 will be just as fine, because it will be the hero track, so you can just upgrade that if you really want to, but you definitely want to be doing a tier 8 at the absolute maximum to get the highest level of gear there.
Oh, for sure.
Another part of delve gearing are hidden caches, so these are a Delve's bounty item. Now, these have been popping up in preseason, which seems like a bug, but yeah, essentially, these are super rare drops from any tier of delve. Now, these used to function a little bit different on beta, but it looks like it has changed. So yeah, these are now a rare drop. Now, it doesn't seem to be capped, but as mentioned, they are extremely rare. Getting a Delver's bounty will give you an extra chest at the end of the tier that you looted it from.
Decipher the map guaranteeing that you will find a tier 8 hidden trove at the end of the next tier 8 or higher delve you complete. What?
So if you got a Delver's bounty from a tier 8,
chest?
once you've activated it, your next tier 8 will have a hidden cache at the end of it. Now, inside this hidden cache is a much higher item level that you would have got from a bountiful chest. The highest item you can get from a tier 8 hidden cache looks like it's going to be 610 hero, which is awesome. So if you get a bunch of these stocked up, you can get a bunch of 610 hero track gear from your tier 8. But of course, if these do drop in the lower tiers, you also get a higher item at the end there, which is awesome. So with all that being said,
so people already you've gotten them already, Sparky? You've gotten 4 of them? Damn, that's really good. Heroic level raid gear at the end. That's not even from your vault. Not to mention you can get something from your vault after too. Holy crap.
Great Vault, through Bountiful Delves, through everything, through different crests, Valorstone.
Blizzard's definitely trying to make these relevant as shit, and it's working. I mean, how do you make things relevant to WoW players? You either attach a mount to it, because they'll infinitely grind that shit forever, or you attach some gear to it, some really epic gear, which is what, I mean, they've made them relevant, that's for sure.
Etc. What is the highest item level you can obtain through delves, potentially on your own or with a group? That is item level 619. Rey Mysterio, be proud. This is hero 4 out of 6, and this is equivalent to the last boss of heroic.
Damn, you can get the last boss of heroic item level, and even if it's not tier, convert that through the catalyst. Oh shit, these are valuable.
Yeah, that's insane. So getting to that item level will require you...
That has to be the highest level, item level gear we've ever gotten from open world content. I don't think we've ever had open world content that's given us higher level gear. Shit, unless you count like, okay, your what's it called? Torghast shit. But yeah, that was different. You had to create it and everything. This is just dropping straight up. Wow.
To get all of your items from the highest tier, the Great Vault, and then using the crests that you can obtain through delves to upgrade it. Now, it is 4 out of 6 hero. You can go higher, but you will have to do Mythic Plus or Raid to get those extra crests, as those crests do not drop in delves. So 619 is pretty insane. Last boss heroic through delves.
So you're not going to get 619 without also raiding, because you're going to need the crests, and he just said they won't drop from the delve at that level. You won't get the ones that upgrade to heroic hero drop gear. So you got to do both.
This is absolutely incredible. It's going to take a little bit to get there, of course, but people will be gearing up to 603 champion pretty quickly through Bountiful Delves, especially in Heroic Week. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you're saving those keys for those tiers to unlock at the beginning of the season, because right now it's kind of a little bit of a waste to use them in tier 3s. You want to be saving those for your tier 8s. So yeah, there you go, guys. That is gearing through delves in season 1. Hopefully I explained it okay. Hopefully it makes a little bit of sense. Obviously you need a little bit of knowledge about the game to know what hero and champion and veteran and explorer and all that kind of, the different gearing and stuff like that. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. But essentially the long short of it is do tier 8 Bountiful Delves as much as you possibly can, and max out that vault every single week for the highest possible gearing. So Yeah, very exciting times ahead. Potentially there will be some changes, but this is what it is like as of right now, as of the recording this video, just before Season 1 of The War Within. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know down below if you're going to be gearing through Delves. Will you be using it as your exclusive gearing method, or will it be just something you do on the side, as well as raiding in dungeons? As for me, very much a solo player, so this is going to be my gearing method. This is why I wanted to make this video, just so I know the info going into it. So thank you very much for watching, guys. If you do like this video, please do leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I'm also on Patreon and I'm on Twitter at MrGMYT, and I have a partner Discord channel as well. And as mentioned, I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft, War Within, patch 11.05 just hit the PTR, so we're going to be doing that too. Lots of fun over on Twitch. So if you want to check me out, guys, twitch.tv/MrGM every single day.
There it is.
And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.
Yeah, so delves are big. Delves are big, but you won't be able to maximize your delve gear unless you are raiding deep into raids. Yeah, as Clarm said, yeah. You're going to have to get deep into a raid to really get the next tier of crests to upgrade them. But damn, delves are going to change how we gear. That's for sure. Blizzard made sure of that with this very cool video. Thanks to Mr. GM for this one.